Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel. Yeah, I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering Complicated, the series. It is currently streaming on Tubi, Season 2, Episode 4. Yeah, I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video, and also you can subscribe and leave your comments below. Now let's get into this episode. Okay, so 3 things I gotta say about this episode up front. First, there was a lot of comedy stuff that I was laughing at. 2, you have to pay attention to this episode because there's nuggets that are being dropped in so many ways that's leading us up to wherever the stories are going. 3, got a bone to pick with you, to the writers, because I wanted to be pissed at Chase. Now, I could be pissed, but not to the level that I wanted to be pissed at him at, because I thought and how it was given to us in regards to this whole Ava situation, but we'll get into that in just a few minutes. Okay, so we begin this episode with Calvin and Morgan. Morgan's playing on her phone, she's smiling away, and Calvin's giving her this look, and she's in cloud 9 someplace, not even paying attention. That was funny to me, because she's like, is this B for real? So she finally gets off her phone, and Calvin says, you've been smiling at the phone a lot lately. You want to tell me why you and the detective are on a nickname basis? And she says, it's nothing. We've known each other for a very long time. That's it. You know, I was speaking with my family, and, you know, the holidays are coming up. And, you know, we were just talking about that. Calvin ended up saying, you know, I'm thinking about my family and planning the holidays around them. And Morgan was like, what do you mean? Next thing you know, the doctor comes in and gives Calvin his report. He says that there's been excellent progress with the surgeries and your healing and all that, and now you get to go home. The doctor leaves the room, and of course Morgan's like, isn't it great? You get to go home, blah, 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 blah. Calvin calls someone to come up to the room, not really just ignoring her. Next thing you know, it's Mo that comes up. And Morgan's like, what's going on? Why is she here? And Calvin says to her, you know, he is reevaluating his inner circle. And she's like, why? I mean, I just got shot and all this good stuff, blah, 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 blah. And I really want you to go. Devin chimes in and said, let's go. Chop, chop. I was like, Lord. And you can leave with your last season product. I said, now why y'all gotta throw that shade in there? Oh. So Devin, who thinks that she's all good in with Calvin or whatever, thought she was going to be this nice person to him. She's like, well, you're leaving today, so how are you feeling? And then Calvin, with his mean tail, said that that's a dumbass question. How the hell do you think I'm feeling? And she said, you might want to be nice if you actually want to get up out of here. Lord, I don't understand that. I understand they got a lot of friction, but it's just like, nothing's changed within Calvin, with his life really being in jeopardy, and also, at least at the least, you probably could have been paralyzed. Next thing you know, Detective Fitzgerald comes in. He sits on the bed where Calvin is and does all of this dramatic stuff, handing over his card, introducing himself to Mo. It was so funny. All I could say is bravo to the actor that plays Detective, because he's funny. He's giving some of the comic relief. So now he's asking for Mo to come down to the station to ask some questions. And Calvin said, there's no way that my wife would have done this, da, 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 da. And he says, I know, but I want to ask some questions just to make sure. And then basically Calvin was like, can you go? And he leaves. All right, so the next scene, Kennedy. She is cooking an apology, thank you, and a peace offering breakfast. She's getting everything ready, got the fruit all out. She sets it on the table, and then Zay walks out of his room, ushering his roster, his girl, right out the side door, whatever type of doors that there are. And of course, she went and took a piece of fruit and asking Zay, "Is this your sister?" Da 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 da. Anyways, Kennedy explains what this was all about. Um, Kennedy says, "I didn't know that you were having guests over." And Zay says, "Sometimes I get lonely." Because she asked, "Was that his new boo?" And he said, "No, sometimes I get lonely." And then she says, "Well, can you keep the volume of that loneliness down a little bit?" And basically, this is his house. And she said, "Look, I'll be out of here, out of your hair as soon as possible. I just need to get a gig." Zayd shifts the conversation to Kennedy by saying, "You ain't slick." She's like, "What do you mean?" "Sitting up here cooking me breakfast. You got a half shirt on, exposing your stomach and all that. You ain't slick." She kind of just gazes over that, but obviously there was something there. "Do you have plans today, Zay?" Um, Zay says that he's going to be meeting up with his friends for the BRO program. And then he suggests maybe next time that you make breakfast, that you make enough for whomever I got, and we can have a little threesome. And then next thing you know, Kennedy puts the middle fingers up. They are so stupid, respectfully. Kennedy gets a call, and it looks like someone is interested in a partnership with her. At the end of the conversation, she says, "Wait, what?" Everything was very positive, and it looks like there's something to the deal that's going to be controversial to whatever is happening. So the next scene, we see Val. Val is getting taken care of sexually. We hear the moans, and she got a new wig on. I said, "What?" "Val, we ain't used to that wig. Where that wig come from?" So next thing you know, who comes from out of the covers is Maria. So Maria was handling her business, and then she says, "I knew that you would like this, da 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 da." And next thing you know, Neil comes in and kisses Val and all that stuff, and they reconvene to their sex time. And then next thing you know, Val wakes up. Was it a dream or a fantasy? She checks her text messages, and the text message is from Maria saying, "I need a fitting." And she says, "Next, can't wait to see you tonight. Be sure to wear something that you don't mind getting dirty." And she's got all these emojis of a lot of flirtatious emojis. Val says, "What have I gotten myself into?" Yeah, you're in the thick of it. So, okay, so this conversation here has kind of just turned me to actually liking Mo. And I didn't think that was possible. But we're going to get into that in just a second. So Erica is getting her hair combed by Mo. Erica's got this Afro puff and she needs it serviced. She asked Mo to call Zay for some of the good stuff. Now, I'm noticing that Erica is doing a lot of this initiating and trying to get Mo to drink, smoke, da 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 da. It seems like even in a hectic time, Erica's kind of relaxed in a way. She's using these different substances to kind of it's interesting how Erica's moving. I'll just say that much because it's like she's using drinking so that she doesn't feel the stuff that she needs to feel, and she's using other substances to not feel what she wants to feel. But at the same time, it seems like she's relaxing in a way. Like I wouldn't, for me, I don't see her this relaxed before the whole thing with the whole Jason thing. I don't know. That's what I'm picking up. At least she's more free or liberated to just do certain stuff that she wouldn't normally do. Maybe that's it. But Mo says, "No, I can't do that because she has to go to the children's school since they have already witnessed the sex tape. And she also has to go to her attorney and she's got to be somewhat sober." So then they talk about last night, which was when Erica let Val have it. And Erica said, "F Val. If she kept her mouth shut, then none of this that I'm going through right now would have happened." And Mo says, "I don't know about that." And she says, "Well, what do you mean?" It was really effed up as to the whole situation. Um, What Mo says, you think that you were being protected because nobody was saying anything, but everything does come to the light. What's ever done in the dark will come to the light. I'm a living witness to it. Then Erica says, well, our situations are different. And Mo said, how so? Well, you were actively doing things behind your husband's back. And then Mo says, well, you were actively not telling your best friend that she was sleeping with your ex baby daddy. And you were actively lying to your husband. Same thing. You had a red crayon, I had a blue crayon, but we were still drawing color against a white page. I said, okay, go ahead. Who wrote that? That was a good line. Overall, what Mo is trying to convey is accountability. Erica says that she should have came to me like you did. But she didn't. She decided to just go off the rails. Erica, she did come to you. She asked you what was up when you were hugged up with Jalen on the baseball field. She asked you. And both of you and Jalen lied. So you think that somebody's supposed to give you that same grace before, when they gave you grace before and bought your BS of an explanation. That's not cool, Erica. That's not cool. And you're doing everything to escape accountability. And that's where Mo's trying to bring you to. Mo says, be mad at the how and not the why. And it's still effed up. Erica says that all this could have been avoided if you had just told her what was up. Or I think, no, Mo said this. All of this could have been avoided if you would have just given her a heads up. Hey, that's my ex-baby daddy. Mo suggested Erica should call her. And she said, I'm not calling her. And then Mo said, cool, I'll call her. And I need to find out about this whole Neil and Maria situation. They joke about that, and they was like, there's some type of weird vibes going on. It was just like some type of Will and Jada type of stuff. I guess Val is August. August Alsina in this whole situation. So we get to the nitty gritty as to why I got a bone to pick with these writers. Chase and Dad finally have it out. The dad says that there's no use in crying. I think he's looking at a picture of him and Erica. No use of crying over milk, especially chocolate milk. Okay, Dad. They get into a lot of where the friction comes in at. The dad offered him the family empire and legacy. Chase didn't want that. He wanted to pursue his own dreams, and he opened up his own restaurant. The dad downplays it and doesn't understand why he rejected everything that was basically a birthright to him. Chase ended up saying, I used to respect you. The sister comes in, Chelsea. She's trying to break them up, blah, 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 blah. Stop this. Y'all fix this. Do this for me. And then Chelsea goes out the room. Chase basically opens up as to what he knows, despite how Chase's dad is trying to make himself look. When was the last time you spoke with Ava? Ava. We found out that was Chelsea's friend and paralegal. We find out that the dad had relations with Ava, and in so many little words, basically, the dad is the father of Ava's child, and he took advantage of her. And I guess he's still with Chase's mother, so it's very crazy, this old man with this young woman. Of course, he's saying you can't prove that, Chase says that I'm going to make sure Mom and Chelsea know everything, know exactly who you are. And then he tells him to get the F out of his house. He's not welcomed here. So, yeah, that's where my bone I want to pick at, because y'all had me all this time believing that Ava's baby was Chase and he was doing all this stuff. So, Erica has her own secrets and hiding stuff. Chase has his own secrets and hiding stuff. Yet, it seems like Chase wants to, really arrogant. Both of them are arrogant and prideful. Erica and Chase, I'll say that much. Because you see how Erica trying to act like her sin isn't as great as Devin's. Chase trying to say, his sins, his secrets aren't as great as Erica's. I mean, the bottom line is, y'all are lying. y'all made stuff more complicated as long as you weren't at least accountable and vulnerable to each other. Y'all made this stuff very more complicated than what it had to be for you guys, and that's why you're in this state. But you'd rather point the fingers instead of actually looking inside yourselves to figure out what the crap is going on. Yeah. So yeah, I was supposed to hate him more, and now I can't. Thanks a lot, writers. Thanks a lot. Thank you for making it complicated for me. Okay, so Jalen and Erica, they meet up. I'm going to pin this here and set it on the table. Jalen, I guess, hadn't heard from her for a couple of days. She said, there's been things going on. I've had a stomach bug. Writers, are y'all saying what I think you're saying? Is there going to be pregnancy 2.0? I mean, this is a complicated show. As possibly Chase and Erica may be trying to get back together. Now another baby is on the scene. Erica says, we made a mistake. And Jalen was like, no, we made love. Jalen. Erica just confesses, I'm confused. I don't know what's going on with my life right now. I don't know what's going on with Chase, da-da-da-da-da. And I need some space. Jalen says, well, why can't it just be us? I think that we really had something special the other night, and we can continue that. Erica said, right now, look, I don't have space for all that. All I want to do is focus on the friendship and relationships that I still have left. And I don't need any extra baggage. And then Jalen was like, extra baggage? What are you talking about? Da-da-da-da-da. Erica says stuff a lot that can be harsh. And I think she's telling the truth in those moments, but it comes off very rude and hurtful to people. But anyways, just like she did a couple episodes ago with Chase. Erica says, be here. Don't be here for me, though, in regards to all that. I can't handle all of that, da-da-da-da-da. I need you to give me some space. And it's just like the end of the world for Jalen. And, of course, nobody can really see it except for his therapist that we already had revealed last week that something was going on there with Maria. But it's just like, yeah, Jalen, you're coming off very strong. She still needs to deal with her relationship, her marriage. They're not divorced or nothing. They haven't even talked yet. And you're just ready to, it's just like you're in your own bubble and in your own world. And you just want a love bubble. You just want what you want with this woman. And not being a good friend, a good person in this time. It's very selfish leading right now. And I don't feel like Erica used him. I can't say that. And hopefully he doesn't accuse her of that in later episodes. Because you've been on this manipulative journey that we discovered in episode 1. So, no. And you were doing everything to be in her world. Again. Morgan and Fitz. They're sitting in the car watching Mo. I don't know if Mo put on another wig or something, but they're watching her as she goes into another building, and they're trying to figure out what she has going on. Fitz makes this joke to Morgan, and she ends up saying, F you, Fitz. And he says, not yet. I said, oh, so... Of course, it already seemed like they were old lovers, but I guess old lovers are now reuniting. But this is what I feel. I feel like Morgan is an FBI agent. I don't think that she ever was interested in Calvin in that way as far as a relationship. And I think there's something going on underneath the surface. We don't hear her asking Calvin any questions, but it's just kind of like this almost bad cop, good cop thing situation. Fitz has come along and he's being a nuisance to Calvin. And Morgan's just there to see what type of information she can get out of Calvin. That's what I'm thinking since we've seen this car scene. But what do y'all think? Later that night, Zay visits with his friend and they're talking about college options. Zay says, I'm not really into school like that. And Zay asks the friend, how did you get into the program? He said that his mom was dealing with a substance abuse, and during times where she's just out, he saw that this program had some snacks, and he went in there and left out of there with a dream, as Zay said. Basically, he accidentally got into this program by just thinking that he was getting some snacks. Um, Val, she finally visits Maria. We'll get into that in just a few minutes. Mo is visiting with her lawyer. So it's just like, what do y'all? I didn't understand the whole stakeout, or were we looking at something else that Mo was doing before she went to the lawyers? But anyways, Mo's talking about gathering this case against her. I don't know if it's Kennedy or if Mo knows something else. But in regards to the sex tape leaking, the lawyer is very positive about that. That she will get whatever she needs to get out of this whole situation. Mo does let us know in regards to going to the academy. The academy didn't think that the children were a good fit after the whole sex tape was leaked, and also Calvin's shooting. But then I guess a six-figure payment was able to turn all that around. Next, we see this text, and it reads, "Why aren't you answering my calls? We need to talk. I told you I did this for you." And then Mo says, "Can't talk right now." I said, oh, it's got to be Melody. It's got to be Melody. She is out of her mind. And because remember, on the finale, she calls Mo right after the whole birthday explosion. And I don't think Mo picked up at the time. So it was Melody, for sure, that shot Calvin. Mo asked the lawyer to look into something else, and the lawyer did. And she's looking at some files and just saying, "Calvin, what have you been up to?" So we don't know what that's all about. Hey, so there's a lot of things that are happening that are setting up for future storylines. I'm going to switch around the stories. We're going to talk about Val and Maria. Val goes to Maria's studio, which is out in the shed in the woods, and Val has questions about that. Because at how they're trying to act like they are these prestigious people that have all this money and all of that. But I'm in a shed, and you think we about to get it on in a shed. What's up with that? Val says, I really don't see this working out for us. Maria's doing her ceramics or whatever, the whole, from the movie Ghost, Molly and Sam Wheat were making that's what she's doing. Since Val says, I don't see this working out, Maria says, so leave. I know from just a little time of spending with you, you don't do anything that you don't want to. And Val said, that's right. So she says, you can leave and there won't be any more contact from us. If you stay, there's not going to be any more of this facade of, I don't know if I really want to do this or not. So it's either you're in or you're out. We'll leave you alone. If not, you're all the way in. So she takes Val's wine glass from her as she's giving us a speech. Val ends up taking it back. And then Val says, I'm in control. And Maria says that I wouldn't have it any other way. In that instance, I don't believe Val is in control. I think that they're letting her think she's in control. There's something. I know that they're giving her the will to choose, but they were been tempting her and baiting her and all that good stuff anyway. So I'm not convinced that Val is the puppet master in this whole situation. They are the puppet masters, Neil and Maria, but whatever. So obviously Val and Maria get it on in the shed. Back to Zay. We find out a little bit of his childhood. He grew up with his aunt and cousin. His parents never really wanted him. Zay asks a question to his friend, did your mom get any better? And then all of a sudden he gets the phone call saying that he'll be right in, da-da-da-da-da. He says, I'll be right back. I gotta go handle something in the house. The friend goes in the house and we find out there's a woman there searching for stuff. And her name is Mary. And once the dude gets up in there, she's asking, where's my money? And he's like, well, what money? My monthly check money. Where's that at? Well, that's a part of the bills, the food, the lights, and all that. And then Mary gets aggressive with him, is trying to fight him, and saying, I need my money, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Zay is hearing a lot of that outside. So he comes inside and says, is everything okay? And then he lays his eyes on this woman. And he recognizes her as his mother. how the plot thickens. He sees his mother and he runs out. And we're left as an audience like, what just happened here? Wow, that's so crazy. Wow. Well, I'm excited to see what happens in the next episode because, oh my, there's a lot unfolding and a lot of things I think I figured out in my head, but who knows? Bravo to the cast and to the crew. Y'all doing a great job. I don't know how y'all made me all of a sudden like Mo. I mean, Mo is a character that, to me, just was very judgmental and harsh. And I think because of her secret being exposed, she can no longer be this critical type of person, judgmental type of person. And she had to really just come with the real. I enjoyed it. But again, thank you for coming. Like this video, subscribe, leave your comments below. And until the next one, peace.